Hello sporters. Welcome to Endless Sport Time. The Sacramento Kings have built generations of talent in many places. Today's teams are struggling to find relevance after a long absence from the playoffs. In Sacramento, the team has a recent past, present and future, with notable names contributing at various levels. There are Kings players who have made All-Star teams, All-NBA teams, NBA championships, and even the Hall of Fame. There's a group of underrated names that helped the franchise rise and fall during its heyday. Each of the following players deserves to be considered the greatest in the Sacramento Kings history. 10. Mike Bibby. Mike Bibby was neither an All-Star nor an All-NBA player, but he was the missing player for the Sacramento Kings in the 2000s. A risky trade from fan favorite Jason Williams, aka White Chocolate, for Bibby, saw the Kings becoming a real threat for the Los Angeles Lakers. Bibby was a regular clutch player for Sacramento that season, falling one game short of the NBA Finals. During Bibby's time with the Kings, he averaged 17.6 points and 5.4 rebounds per game. The injuries of Chris Webber and Peja Stojakovic ended Sacramento's playoff chances, but Bibby still performed well. 9. Otis Birdsong. In the Kansas City chapter of Kings history, Otis Birdsong was considered one of the greatest players of his time. Birdsong was more than just a great name, having made 3 of 4 All-Star games of the Kings franchise. He was even selected to the All-NBA once in his best season in 1981. Kings fans have seen Birdsong average 21.2 points, 3.6 rebounds, and 3 assists per game in his 4 seasons with the franchise. Birdsong isn't talked about as much as modern NBA fans talk about the Kings' days as Sacramento. 8. Vlade Divac. The international flavor of the NBA has improved, as Vlade Divac has become a fixture in the league. Divac was already an established veteran when he joined the Sacramento Kings, but he made his first, and only All-Star appearance with them. In 6 seasons in Sacramento, Divac averaged 11.4 points, 7.8 rebounds, 3.7 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block per game. The big man's selflessness, and infrequent passing, made him perfect for the fast-paced Kings teams of the early 2000s. 7. Nate Archibald. Nate "Tiny" Archibald spent 6 seasons with the Kings franchises in Kansas City and Cincinnati. Archibald's stats during his tenure were impressive, averaging 25.2 points and 8.1 assists per game as a starter. 3 of Archibald's 6 All-Star appearances came with the Kings franchise, before he traded to the Boston Celtics, where he continued his success, winning a single ring. However, the Kings saw some of the best individual performances of Tiny's career. 6. DeMarcus Cousins. DeMarcus Cousins have one of those strange NBA legacies, reminiscent of his time with the Sacramento Kings. Most fans don't believe Cousins spent 7 seasons with the team, probably because he never made the postseason. Cousins' numbers were impressive with 21.1 points, 10.8 rebounds, and 3 assists per game. Cousins was arguably the best center in the game for several years with the Kings, earning 3 All-Star appearances and 2 All-NBA selections. Shortly after being traded to the New Orleans Pelicans, Cousins was injured. 5. Peja Stojakovic. Sacramento Kings fans fell in love with Peja Stojakovic, as he became the best 3-point shooter in the NBA, and briefly the team's second-best player behind Chris Webber. Stojakovic suddenly became a top NBA talent. 3-point shooting made Peja must-watch television for his 3 All-Star appearances, and his only All-NBA selection in Sacramento. Stojakovic averaged 18.3 points and 5 rebounds for the Kings. For one season, Peja finished 4th in MVP voting, averaging 24.2 points per game in 2003-04. 4. Jerry Lucas. The legendary Jerry Lucas was one of the most powerful forwards of his time. Lucas spent 7 seasons with the Kings franchise, while playing in Cincinnati in the 1960s. His 19.6 points and 19.1 rebounds per game were Kings franchise bests. Lucas made 6 of his 7 All-Star appearances, and 5 of his All-NBA selections as a member of the Kings. The NBA championship came to Lucas at the end of his fighting career, all leading to his induction into the Hall of Fame upon retirement. 3. Mitch Richmond. Mitch Richmond had a unique situation with the Sacramento Kings, and had some of the best playoff moments of all time. In all 7 seasons in Sacramento, Richmond averaged 23.3 points, 4.1 assists, and 3.7 rebounds per game. NBA analysts honored Richmond's production, voting him to all 6 All-Star meetings, and 5 All-NBA selections as a member of the Kings. Richmond had just one postseason, a first-round exit at Sacramento, but won a ring in his final season as a bench player for the Los Angeles Lakers. 2. Chris Webber. The Sacramento Kings' trade for Chris Webber was a bold move. This is because he had a relatively short time to start his career with the Golden State Warriors and Washington Wizards. Webber had the best performance of his career in Sacramento, leading the Kings to a championship contender. Sacramento had Webber on the roster for 7 seasons, averaging 23.5 points, 10.6 rebounds and 4.8 assists. Webber made 5 All-NBA selections, and 4 All-Star appearances during his time with the Kings. Injuries ended Webber's career as a superstar, shortly after his 2002 ring draw. 1. Oscar Robertson. The legendary Oscar Robertson is still the greatest player to ever play for Kings. Robertson had 10 of his best seasons with the Kings franchise in Cincinnati. His outstanding 29.3 points, 10.3 assists and 8.5 rebounds showed just how far ahead of his time he was. Robertson won an NBA championship later in his career with the Milwaukee Bucks, but his best season was with the Kings. 10 All-Star appearances and 9 All-NBA selections were small accomplishments, compared to winning the MVP award as league best player in 1964. Alright guys, this is all I have for today. If you think I left out something, don't hesitate to drop it in the comments section down below. Also, if you find this video interesting, give the video a thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this.